Hello. This is the training video for the Dunkin' Donuts outdoor digital menu board. The system includes a 3-monitor drive-thru menu powered by media players found within an in-store network rack with internet obtained via the indoor menu board switch. It can be completed in one day by IST technicians along with electrical and concrete contractors. Let's begin. Step 1. Arrival and kickoff meeting. Once you have arrived on site and check in with IST, introduce yourself to the store manager on duty. Explain that you are with IST doing a New Way DMB install. Ask them where they'd like the network rack located and mark that location. It should be out of reach of employees and cannot obstruct anything. Brief them on the installation plan and have them show you to the inventory. Next, meet with your contractors. The electrician will identify the circuits and, if necessary, pull new ones. Show the electrician exactly where the outlet for the network rack is to be placed. Next, identify the circuit for the outside menu board so it can be turned off to safely proceed. Have the electrician identify a conduit path from the menu board to the store's entry point. Direct the concrete crew as to where the new footer is going to be placed. If necessary, they will remove the existing footer and dig a trench for the new conduit. Step 2. Inventory and tools. The manager will show you to the on-site inventory. It should include 3 outdoor DMB screens, 1 base, 1 rain cap, network rack, D-Link switch, keystone blocks, RJ45 ends, 3 media players, 3 media extenders, 3 power strips, 1,000-foot Cat6 shielded cable, 3 DisplayPort to HDMI cables, 3 HDMI to HDMI cables, 7 Cat6 patch cables. The tools will include a cell phone, zip ties, camera, 6-foot ladder, 3-foot bubble level, screwdriver set, a variable speed and hammer drill, an angle grinder with a concrete cutting blade, masking tape or multi-surface Sharpie, a wire stripper and crimper, punch-down tool, a power strip and 25-foot extension cord, soldering iron with solder, 3/4-inch masonry bit for drilling the concrete anchors, a multi-drill bit set including bits for metal, wood, and tile to ensure you have the right bit to mount the network rack, a socket set or open-end wrenches, fish tape. If necessary, you may need to pick up a shovel, hose, and wheelbarrow for light concrete work. Step 3A. Installing the network rack. If the electrician has placed your outlet, you may begin installing the rack. This system gains access from the front counter's DMB switch. Run your Cat6 patch cable from that switch to the new rack location through a large hole. This particular run looks like so. Above your outlet, you should now have the Cat6 patch cable, and will eventually have the Cat6 cables coming from the outdoor DMB cabinets. Begin installing the back plate of the network rack. Use a level to ensure proper alignment. Use appropriate screws or bolts for the wall type you are mounting to. However, make sure at least 2 of the anchoring bolts are in studs. This is what it will look like installed. Assemble the network rack. Leaving the bottom space open for cabling and the second shelf to place the media players, the switch should be placed in the uppermost space. Begin placing the internal components as detailed in this scheme. Installed, it will look like this. The power conditioners are zip tied to the bottom shelf. Labeled media extenders are here. Here are the media players. Note that the players are identified by labels on the box and on the players themselves. And then the switch. Each media player has 3 cables coming out of the back. There is a DisplayPort to HDMI, which is the main video source to the extender. There is an HDMI failover to that same extender. And there's a Cat6 patch cable that goes up to the D-Link switch. Step 3B. Remove the old menu board. Use cones or some other form of barrier to define your workspace. Before removing the old menu board, ensure the power has been disconnected. If the new unit includes a speaker and mic, detach the old speaker and mic cables, labeling which is which for later use. Remove the back cover of the menu board so the electricians have access to the area. Disassemble the menu board using a 5/16 hex socket. Remove the side panel so it will be easier to carry the old menu board out of its location. Be sure to replace bolts and other hardware so the menu can be reused at another site. Have the electrician disconnect the whip from the existing menu boards. Be sure not to disconnect any other circuits though. They may cap off all existing circuits if they are to be used for the new digital menu board. Once everything has been disconnected, loosen or grind the bolts off to remove the old menu board. It may take some hammering. Tilt the menu down and carry to the pallet that the new equipment was delivered on. Step 3C, the new or existing footer. There are 3 possible scenarios you could encounter when it comes to preparing the new menu board footer. Scenario 1. Same location, same footer. If the menu board is placed in the same location as the old menu board and there is a strong enough foundation, you may use that foundation. Grind down the threaded rods, use your hammer drill to create new holes, add new bolts or threaded rods, overpour a new layer of concrete on top of the existing foundation for a more secure base. Scenario 2. Same location but a new footer. If the menu board is placed in the same location but the existing foundation will not support the new menu board, it must be removed and a new foundation must be poured in its place by the concrete contractor. Scenario 3. A new location and a new footer. The concrete contractor will again have to pour a new foundation if the menu location is changing. This new location is where the trench will be run to. Unless the old footer is in the way, it can be left in its place and covered up by dirt or rocks. The contractor will place the new footer as follows. Line out the trench from the new menu board location to where the electrician determines is best to penetrate the building. Clear any debris or stone as necessary. Lay a tarp over the area when trenching so you can save the dirt and easily backfill the hole without making too much of a mess. Cut and remove any trench obstructions in a way that can be replaced once complete. Be aware of any wires or conduits you may encounter. To meet code, make sure your trench is at least 18 inches deep. A conduit will run along the trench and into the building. There must be a 3/4 inch conduit for power and at least a 1.5 inch conduit with a pull string to pass the Cat 6 cables through. The foundation hole will be dug to a depth of 4 feet or other depth as defined by local regulation. You will use a quick set type of concrete for the entire foundation so that the new menu can set within 2 hours. Once the base layer of concrete has been poured, place sonotube and level. Place the rebar structure within the sonotube and begin filling with concrete. Halfway through pouring, extend the conduits into the sonotube and up through the center of the top opening. With the conduit in place, you may fill the rest of the hole. As you work your way up with concrete, place the 3/4 inch all thread into place so that they will be secure within the foundation. The rods or anchor bolts should be 24 inches long or the length specified by local codes. The bolt pattern is 10 inches on center. If a template has not been provided for the bolt placement, you can use the menu board base to create your own using a piece of plywood or cardboard. Use the template to ensure the bolts are situated in the right position. Hammer the rods so they are roughly the same height from the top of the foundation. When hammering, make sure there is a bolt atop the rod to avoid ruining the thread. Double check that the threaded rods are 10 inches apart on center. At this point, allow the foundation to cure. Complete the foundation by smoothing out the concrete. Once the foundation, all thread, and conduit are installed, you may backfill the trench. Do your best to keep the pathways and landscaping clean once you have completed your work. Step 3D. Running cables through the conduit. Have the electrician either extend the existing power cables to the new footer or through a new 3/4 inch conduit. Use the 1.5 inch conduit to run your Cat 6 cables. Label both ends of the Cat 6 cables with X, Y, and Z before pulling. Use your fish tape or a pull string. Pull the cables from the new foundation through the conduit, into the building, and to the new network rack. This will require 2 technicians. Leave enough cable at the foundation, approximately 8 feet, to run up the pedestal and into each cabinet. If this is a menu board model with a speaker and mic, run the speaker and mic cables up as well. Sometimes they'll be too short and need to be extended. If this is the case, be sure to solder them to create a solid connection. The pedestal. Install washers and nuts over the threaded rod and ensure they are level, front to back, side to side, before installing the pedestal to the foundation. Set the pedestal on the foundation with the white box on the back facing away from the customer. As you do, push the cables and any additional pull strings up through the bottom of the pedestal and out the hole in the white box. Take caution not to pinch any of the cables or disrupt the threaded rod's threading. Once you have double-checked the level in each direction, secure the pedestal tightly with a washer and double nut. Trim the excess awl thread with a sawzall or grinder. Display cabinets. Using two techs, gently lift the cabinet, starting at the far end. Place it on the pedestal. Using the supplied hardware, loosely attach the cabinet to the base. There should be a washer on either side of the nut inside the cabinet. Repeat this process with the second and third cabinet. Be aware that the cabinets have a powder coat and a slick surface. You may want to use gloves to avoid slipping. From cabinet to cabinet, you will notice holes. Once aligned and the cabinets are flush to each other and the base, place a bolt and nut and washers to secure the cabinets to one another. Each hole at the end that does not connect to another cabinet will be filled using a provided cap. Leaving these off could void the warranty. Rain cap. Screw the rain cap support pieces into place. There are 6 of them and they should all be placed facing the same direction. Set the rain cap on top of the menu board, sitting on the brackets. Carefully install the screws. Start all of them by hand. This may take some adjusting so that each hole aligns properly. Now you can tighten all of the cabinet to cabinet and cabinet to pedestal bolts. Step 3E. Wiring and testing. Pull all 3 trip light cables through the pedestal and to the white box. The electrician will connect them to the power coming from inside the restaurant. It's important to note the breaker number for the menu board inside the panel. If there is a separate breaker for the network cabinet, note that one as well. By the way, as each trade is completed, make sure paperwork is signed off and completed by the electrician and any other contractors. Feed the Cat6 cables through the pedestal to the appropriate cabinets. What are the appropriate cabinets? Well, the labeling will go from left to right from the customer's point of view. So X is on the left, then Y, and Z on the far right. Keep in mind that from the back of the menu, this will be reversed, Z, Y, X. The power cord for the fans will be plugged into the trip light power strip beneath each display. Each cabinet has its own power strip. Use your IST provided cable certifier to certify each cable. Select the RW Certify option and save the results as you will need to include them with your deliverables. Speaker and mic. If your unit has a mic and speaker, run the microphone cable you took from the old unit all the way up from the pedestal through the unit and into the microphone housing in the rain cap. You will solder and cap this cable to the old microphone, which will be installed into the new housing. The process for the speaker is very similar. Run the cable up the base and through the provided hole. Mount the old speaker using zip ties. Solder the cap and cables just as before. At this time, we are ready to put the cover plates on the access holes on the pedestal. Again, start these screws by hand. Programming the menu boards. Changes made to all 3 of the screens will be as follows. Reset the picture. Set the picture mode. Change the backlight setting to 80. Make sure there is no dynamic contrast, no dynamic backlight, and the power control settings are as follows. Here are the auto source switching settings. Adjust the eco solution. Here are the fan and temperature settings. The ID settings, and the lock screen. The auto pin is 0000. Once the install is complete, change the pin from 4 zeros to 1972. Every Dunkin' Donuts has this same pin number, so technical support will only be able to access the device if you change it to 1972. Step 4. Confirming setup and checking off-site. Once you have completed the previous steps, call NCR support at the number on your screen. If it is after hours and they do not answer, leave a message letting them know that you are completing an ODMB install. Include your store information, your name, and a callback number. If you don't hear back within 30 minutes, you can call IST and let them know you are still waiting. When you do get in touch with them, confirm with NCR that the system is operational and on the network. Confirm with NCR and the manager on duty that the screens are showing the proper content. Once you are totally done with the install, place the keys and remotes in the network cabinet for future troubleshooting. Take your photos, get your paperwork signed, grab your tools, do a final look around for trash and cleanup, and buy yourself a coffee for a safe trip home. Way to go.